Thanks, Kirsten, and welcome one and all to CAPE 2021. As Kirsten mentioned, I am Alex Chochinov, your 2021 CAPE Chair, and I am very excited to kick off this year's conference. But first, we'd like to start by acknowledging that we are speaking to you from Treaty 1 territory, ancestral lands of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. We respect the treaties that were made on these territories, acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past, and dedicate ourselves to move forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. As we record this introduction, our country is mourning the discovery of the unmarked graves of 215 children at a former residential school. We know we have a long way to go to build a truly just society in Canada and pledge to do our part as emergency physicians, starting with yesterday's powerful academic symposium on equity, diversity, and inclusion.
Thanks, Alex. And you will all hear these important themes repeated throughout our conference. I'm Tamara McColl, your 2021 CAPE Scientific Chair, and this is CAPE's first virtual conference, yet another collateral effect of the pandemic that caused the cancellation of CAPE 2020 in Ottawa and radically changed our professional lives. You'll hear plenty about that in the next few days, but for now, we just wanted to say proudly that despite it all, the CAPE conference is back, and we're tremendously excited about the quality of our scientific program, the diversity of the tracks, workshops, and the lineup of social activities planned, which will hopefully keep you connected and entertained throughout the conference. Alex and I wrote to you already about our tagline, CAPE at the Forks, Rising to the Challenge, and its connection to Winnipeg's Indigenous history and indomitable spirit. The Forks, once a marketplace for the trading of goods, now represents for us a place for the exchange of ideas. And like the traders of old, we will hopefully come back home from the Forks having given and received in return richer than before, but in knowledge, experience, and the connections we make with others.
Hopefully. We're starting to hear the words hope or hopefully a lot these days. Amidst all the uncertainty, chaos, and politics that have affected us, as well as our patients and our nursing colleagues in the ED, it would have been easy and understandable to lose hope and to give in to despondency. And yet, across this country, emergency physicians have, by and large, risen to the challenge, which is not surprising, but nevertheless remarkable and certainly worth celebrating. Also worth celebrating is our digital platform and the fact that all of this will be recorded for posterity, which is why I practiced it twice. And just want to say hi to my mom, who loves to see her son on the screen. She won't be able to hear me because she's stone deaf, but just seeing me is enough. Anyway, you can watch any or all of this at your leisure, anytime in the next number of months. After a night shift, for example, when you really need to sleep but are too wired from the craziness of the ED, just turn on Alex and Tamara and presto, you're asleep.
Thanks, Alex, you're really selling this. Well, you also don't have to decide between concurrent sessions, of course, because you can catch every talk, every plenary and workshop at your leisure after the conference is done. All content will be available on demand for 6 months after the conference. Similarly, posters are housed in their own virtual space, along with our sponsors in their dedicated virtual exhibit hall. We hope you will avail yourself of all of this when the time is right for you. We think we have something for every palate at this conference, from the nuts and bolts of core emergency medicine track to the many plenaries that explore the larger questions facing our profession and indeed our world. Alex and I have already given you a foretaste of all of this in our recent ground rounds, so I won't say much more about our program, but make sure to take a moment at your convenience and browse through the incredible content we have lined up for you over the next 3 days. The virtual platform really has afforded us the opportunity to attract an impressive list of national and international speakers. We're incredibly excited for and proud of this year's program, and we're confident that the product will live up to the hype. Please don't forget to fill out the session evaluations, as these will help inform next year's tracks, talks, and speakers. This conference is for you, and so your opinion matters. Please let us know what you think. We also want to give a brief but heartfelt thanks to the people who worked tirelessly to make this conference a reality, some of them while balancing exhausting academic and clinical commitments.
Absolutely. Let's first acknowledge the Ottawa Organizing Committee, who have been most gracious and helpful to us in organizing this year's conference and helped turn some of the talent they had booked for CAPE 2020 into speakers for national grand rounds, which has been a powerful force to connect and educate us over the past year. To our co-conspirators at the CAPE head office, with whom we have worked so closely, thank you very much for everything you've done and will continue to do tirelessly again over the next few days. To our track chairs and speakers, sincere thanks for selflessly carving out the time for the greater good of our emergency medicine community. And also to our many generous sponsors, without whom this conference would not be possible. We also wanted to get our residents more involved this year, and so have chosen 3 local Winnipeg residents to serve as our 2021 CAPE Conference Chief Residents. You will meet them all as they introduce and moderate all of the plenaries throughout the conference. Holly, Sam, and Patrick, thank you so much for joining the team and bringing your energy, enthusiasm, talent, and fresh ideas to make CAPE 21 that much more special. And finally, last but definitely not least, I'd like to give out a special shout out to you, Tamara. As our scientific chair, you personified the indomitable spirit you referred to earlier. Your creativity, organization, and incredible capacity for work while taking on the daunting task of organizing a world-class scientific program in the midst of a pandemic and a busy clinical and academic life were a source of inspiration to me and the entire organizing committee. You have yourself truly risen to the challenge.
Well, that's incredibly kind, Alex, but there's one person you failed to mention, the captain of our ship, our conference chair. Without your guidance, support, and vision, none of this would have been possible. So on behalf of the conference planning committee, thank you. Before we end off, we also wanted to thank all of you for your tireless work throughout the last 15 months as we battled the front lines of the pandemic. It's been a hard year. We innovated and created new policies and protocols. We're leaders in our local centers, advocated for PPE and new hospital procedures, fought and continue to fight the war against misinformation and non-believers, spent time away from family and friends, and always put patient care first. Words are not enough to express the incredible gratitude, reverence, and profound respect we and all Canadians have for each and every one of you. Our conference planning committee has put together a brief video that shares this very sentiment. Thank you all for rising to the challenge, and we hope this conference offers a reprieve and a much needed opportunity to reconnect, learn, laugh, sip wine or a few cocktails, and enjoy a few days with your colleagues from across the country. Enjoy.
Enjoy.